You had used Santi some with Jaren and Biyombo I think in the Laker game before you did it more against the Spurs last night. Is that just a byproduct of necessity, or is that the idea of trying Santi as more of a small forward as something you had been wanting to take a look at?
A combination of both. I mean, I think it was a little out of necessity the last 2 games. Obviously, it worked out for us in the San Antonio game. You know, I think we even played him at the 3 a couple of games last year as well. Something we've always kept in the back of our mind, you know, his ability to play the 3 through 5. You know, he played the 5 at times last year. And just, you know, with some of the size issues and obviously, you know, the depth that we're working with right now just seemed like an opportunity to change things up. He's been playing well the last 2 games, shooting the ball well, playmaking, trying to maybe even put him in as a pick and roll handler at times because I think he's got that capability. And I thought he did a good job with some of his screening actions, you know, last night as well. So versatility, you know, we're trying to find, you know, if it's big, it's small. Last 2 games presented something, you know, maybe something we may use moving forward too.
Hey, so sticking with the front court, Xavier Tillman in particular, I think he, you know, missed a couple games, then he came back for one, and now, you know, he's out today as well. Could you provide a little bit more clarification on exactly what's going on with him there?
Yeah, just some knee soreness that crept in. I'm trying to remember, it was out on the West Coast trip, so just being cautious. I don't anticipate him playing tonight. Got a couple days before I think our next game on Wednesday, so he's pretty much day to day right now.
Taylor, with the team like Boston that places a heavy emphasis on driving kick, getting a lot of 3-pointers up, and the point of emphasis of the 3-point defense for your team as well. Just one thing I've noticed is a lot of help at the nail, and what advantages does that provide, and is there any opportunity to start funneling drivers towards guys like Jaren and Biz?
Yeah, I mean, that's all on the table right now. We're definitely struggling from the wings defensively. I think teams have kind of figured out our game plan. You know, I think we're sometimes overshifting. You know, our discipline hasn't been there. You know, sometimes we're shifting way too low, and we definitely prioritize the paint. You know, the 3-point line. Even last night, there were times, you know, the Spurs were beating us from the 3-point line, but we still did enough to protect the paint, which was important for us. It's kind of game to game that we're studying what teams are doing to us. You know, how much do we want to live with the high quad threes? The one that really hurts is the corner threes. You know, we're really strong with that. We've been a league leader and defending the corner threes, so our rotations, you know, from the top to the bottom have been poor. Rotating out of the corner has really hurt us. So it's definitely stuff we're studying. Is it, you know, on-ball defense leading to that? Is it, you know, the coverages? You know, is it a pick and roll action? Is it the drive and kick actions? You know, with the ISOs, how we can be better at funneling and maybe into, you know, our best shot blockers as well. So stuff we're definitely dialoguing about right now.
Hey Taylor, how are you? We waited Marcus before the injury, you know, help you guys out most on the court and off the court. And did anything kind of surprise you about the impact early this season, you know, before he hurt himself there?
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate timing. I thought Marcus was finding his stride. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot of, you know, injuries, which is impacting our lineup combinations and trying to get guys to, you know, have a good groove offensively and defensively. Trying to learn where, you know, Marcus is really successful on both sides of the floor. I thought he was doing a really good job playmaking wise. You know, trying to build chemistry with his teammates. I think he's done a great job off the court with his guys. Dinners, having them, you know, play cards, hanging out together on the plane. His voice has really made an impact with this group in a positive way. And then obviously the play, you know, I felt like he was making his stride the last couple of games, and then he has kind of like a freak, you know, fall down, you know, ankle foot injury. So, you know, his competitiveness is the thing I always lean into. I think he's got a competitive fire in practice and the film sessions, the knowledge he brings, the experience level that he's brought, and obviously the struggles that we're having. He's just got an even keel about him. You know, he knows what we've got to do every single day in preparation-wise. He's keeping the guys focused on the big picture, which is sometimes hard, especially early in the season when we've got a competitive group. But the competitiveness that he's displayed for so many years, I think he's really led by example in that department to keep our guys just focused on, hey, put the record aside, keep focusing on the group that we got, the standard that we got to, you know, lean into. Everyone's responsibility, him getting acclimated to our standard. He's been really positive, consistent.
Hey, Coach, with 2 more players added to the injury list, your roster's getting thinner and thinner. How does that go into your minutes played and your rotations going forward in your game plan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to be smart. You know, as I've, you know, obviously we're leaning into Dez in particular, JJ, even Biz, you know, Santi the last couple of games. It's just kind of a feel-it-out process throughout the game, what the game's dictating it. You know, we've had a couple one, I think the Clippers game and obviously the Spurs game where I kind of changed up my sub-pattern in the second half, you know, brought guys back earlier, maybe played them in a little bit longer, knowing that there was some runs happening, some momentum swings. But I got to build a responsible rotation pattern, obviously, especially, second night of a back-to-back, and, not even thinking about the past and the future, just the day that it presents. So focused on that, working with our medical team, getting the feedback from our guys. Our guys are in a pretty good spot. They're grinding through this stuff, and then I just kind of let the game dictate that, as the best as possible.
Any other questions?
Kind of going off that same notion, but in particular with the point guards, Derek today as well as, Marcus and those guys. How do you plan on kind of distributing the minutes there in terms of who will be the main ball handlers and kind of with the offense?
I mean, by committee. I mean, obviously you saw it last night, in the second half. Gilly's minutes, I've always prepared him. You got to be ready for whatever's thrown your way. Obviously, we're leaning in on Dez a lot. I thought Zaire did a great job last night as well. I think just some continuity, motion-based offense that we've been installing the last week or two to kind of alleviate some of the need to have everyone playing out of pick and rolls. But when we do need to get into certain, first gear situations, I really was impressed with how Zaire played last night. As I said a moment ago, is, Santi getting some of those opportunities too. He's got, I think, unique ability with his playmaking and his size. So leaning on all by committee, and at the end of the day, we just got to play fast. We got to get to that no matter who's out there, what our depth is. Playing fast is something that we got to continue to trend in the right direction. And then when we get into our, half-court sets, I think all these guys have gotten exposed to what we want to do. I just got to lean into them, be making the best reads, and then just kind of reading what the game's dictating, who's playing well, and then kind of play through those guys.